Welcome to the first in a series of 5 trainings on Farm to School. These trainings can be viewed in any order or sequentially. The order we have presented them in is set up in a way that follows the general planning of Farm to School for school food service. If you wish to earn CEUs towards your School Nutrition Association certification through the Minnesota School Nutrition Association, you will need to watch all 5 trainings and then complete a short quiz. This series of trainings is meant to be a broad overview of Farm to School and will illustrate how easy it is to implement it at your school. These trainings will also provide you with numerous resources and contacts to help you begin your journey from farm to school.
The purpose of this Why Farm to School segment is to help you understand the basics of Farm to School, understand the benefits of Farm to School, and the resources available to help you get started. For those of you who work in a school setting, we hope this presentation will serve as a tool to help you increase school meal participation and to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables students eat.
This presentation will explain Farm to School, highlight the benefits of participation, and provide steps to get you on your way. We will also take a look at what other schools across the state are doing. Finally, we will address some frequently asked questions and share some resources to make Farm to School that much more simple.
The National Farm to School Network defines Farm to School as an effort that connects schools K through 12 and local farms with the objectives of serving healthy meals in school cafeterias, improving student nutrition, providing agriculture, health, and nutrition education opportunities, and supporting local and regional farmers. University of Minnesota Extension and Minnesota Department of Health have developed a primer to get you started on your Farm to School efforts. This primer says that Farm to School means kids eat more fresh local foods and learn about where their food comes from, all while supporting local farmers. By connecting farms and schools, children, schools, and farmers all benefit. There are so many ways that schools become engaged in this initiative. Farm to School is not one size fits all. It could be as simple as having a tasting of local food in the cafeteria or classroom each month during the growing season, or it could be as complex as sourcing an entire meal from local farmers. Some might even participate in Farm to School by incorporating agriculture in their classroom lessons, or by taking a class field trip to the farm. There are no set criteria for where the farm you purchase from should be located. For you, local may mean buying from only farmers in your county or maybe staying within the state. This is part of the reason why Farm to School is so easy. You can tailor it to meet your needs and resources. Ultimately, you define what Farm to School is because it is a grassroots effort.
Let's move on to talk about the benefits of Farm to School. How about the kids? This one's easy. Students eat better. Farm to School programs have been shown to increase the number of fruits and vegetables kids eat by 1 serving daily, and they carry these habits home. Many schools see an increase in school meal participation when farm fresh food is served through the Farm to School program. What more, the students get to know their local farmer. Children better understand the cycle of food, including how and who grows it, and how it impacts their bodies, health, and the community. Experiences like school gardens, farm tours, cooking classes, taste testing, and composting programs all play a role in motivating children towards healthier eating habits that will last a lifetime. For more information on the Farm to School studies referenced here, be sure to check out the resource list provided for segment 1.
Sometimes it can be difficult for people to believe that kids actually like Farm to School foods. We don't expect you to take our word for it, so here's an example. At Red Lake, Willie Larson and Josh Hovde partner with a community nutrition educator through the University of Minnesota Extension to lead tasting lessons as part of the USDA Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Here's what one Red Lake teacher had to say about the green bean tasting. The kids love the green beans today. We did a mini lesson, and I admit I was eating a bean while I gave the lesson. The kids could hear the crunch of the bean and knew they were fresh. We talked about the color and that the purple or darker color on the beans meant they were full of healthy vitamins. They each got to taste a bit of a bean. If they liked it, they took the snack. All my kids ate their beans, and most didn't dunk them in ranch.
Lynn Halverson, School Nutrition Director of Winona Public Schools, says, "Our program has received some really outstanding PR. This in turn makes our parents very happy. Staff are really on board in their support of this program. This has been an opportunity to recognize be recognized in our schools as nutrition education resource. We are giving an opportunity to try products that they may not have had an opportunity to eat at home. Shown here are just a few of the things that Winona is doing with Farm to School. In addition to positive press, school nutrition may increase meal participation among students and adults, minimize plate waste, decrease food costs, and offer an opportunity for student volunteer labor as a means of offering them real-life experience in the kitchen. All these things come together to not only have a positive effect on your school community, but your budget as well. Specifically, some schools experience a decrease in food costs or a bump of revenue through increased student, teacher, or parent meal participation.
Speaking of positive press, local food movements bring important and well-deserved public recognition to school food service. Here's a sampling of just a fraction of the media attention that has focused on Minnesota Farm to School initiatives.
Farm to School can increase market opportunities for farmers, food processors, and food manufacturers in Minnesota. The dollars spent on food by schools stays within the local economy. In addition, Farm to School brings in additional revenues through increases in student and adult meal participation. Farmers are also able to explore planting a wider array of fruits and vegetables, which is better for soil quality. This in turn can benefit the farmer and her yields for years to come. Another benefit is that farmers are able to take pride in their work and share what they do with a captive audience, one that might not otherwise be exposed to farm life. Which leads us to our next point. By showing how cool farmers are, Farm to School might be creating the next generation of farmers which will feed the world.
When thinking about Farm to School, it is important to remember the 3 C's: cafeteria, curriculum, and community. When creating goals for your Farm to School program, be sure to create goals that include all 3 elements. If you're just starting out, keep these goals simple. For example, the school nutrition staff might have a goal of highlighting wild rice purchased from a local harvester. In the classroom, the teacher might choose to discuss wild rice and how it relates to Minnesota's heritage. The food service may decide to taste test the rice during the teacher's lesson and then serve it the following week alongside some oven-roasted turkey. The administration could invite the harvester to the school to explain the gathering process and to eat with students. Or maybe if the harvester can't make it into school that day, he could provide information on how the rice was collected along with a short story of himself. Another example would be a teacher incorporating a trip to the farmer's market into a lesson plan for her students, involving both the community and the curriculum.
Do not be afraid of trying Farm to School if you have never had any previous experience with buying local. The strongest Farm to School programs start small and grow like pumpkin plants, extending vines in many directions and producing fruit that slowly ripens. If you're inspired to plant the seeds of Farm to School program, start with a manageable project and have fun.
Farm to School is all about relationship building. When you have a team with you, it's easy. Who you choose to have on your team depends on your situation and your goals. You might consider talking with school administration and other school nutrition staff to gauge their interest and address any questions or doubt they might have before beginning. You may wish to involve your school's wellness committee, or perhaps you have volunteers who work in the lunchroom. Don't forget the family and consumer sciences or physical education teachers, school nurse, or ag educator who would have an interest in the topic and could share their expertise with the students in the classroom. Students who are involved can spread the word to other students. Perhaps you have a local farmer or student farmer who will be able to provide great insight. All these people have the potential to help you find solutions to obstacles in your way you hadn't thought of before.
At Sibley East Arlington Senior High School, agriculture instructors Jeff Eppen and Tim Uhlenkamp have the support of the superintendent and started a school garden in the spring of 2010. They wanted to teach students about where their food comes from, engage students with experiential learning, and promote careers in agronomy and plant production. The bounty of fresh garden produce was brought to the school kitchen and served to students in the summer school food service program.
For more examples of how Minnesota schools are building teams to get Farm to School off the ground, visit the University of Minnesota Extension Toolkit. So now that you know the benefits and basics of forming a team when it comes to Farm to School, let's briefly touch on how you can get started. You will need to.
In considering the steps for beginning Farm to School, it may be helpful to develop a written plan. This might include developing a timeline, delegating farm-to-school related tasks, or budgeting for local items, and writing clear goals and objectives. A great resource for developing a written plan is the Farm-to-School Planning Tool available on the Minnesota Department of Health website. This document develops templates for writing down what you hope to accomplish in your farm-to-school program and how you plan to do it.
Now that you know the basics of Farm to School, how about some inspiration? Pam Hoped, Child Nutrition Director of Northfield Public Schools, started their Farm to School program in the 2009-2010 school year. Pam scheduled appointments with several local farmers, recommended to her by coworkers and community members. Pam followed the following steps and recommended other school districts do the same. Determine what local foods you want to menu. Plan the menu date approximately 2 months in advance. Set up new farmers as a new vendor for the school district with all the appropriate tax and insurance information on file. Confirm what quantity is needed by school site. Pam feels this is critical as farmers will often plant specifically for the school district. Schools and farmers need to determine the price of the product up front. This can be a challenge for farmers as bounty of produce relies on weather and overall growing season. Pam feels agreements should be written out and not just verbally agreed upon. Determine the ordering process, delivery date, and other specifics. Pam says it can be difficult for local farmers to deliver small amounts of any product by site, so this is negotiated by each product specifically. Request that each local farmer provide the school with a summary paragraph about their farm from the marketing efforts, menu, school newsletters, menu signs, district websites, etc. Ask cook managers to capture the farm-to-school menu offering with lots of pictures of both the staff and students. Schedule a farmer guest appearance at one or more schools on the day the local item is featured to further highlight the product and how it is grown.
In Wilmer School District, Food Service Director Annette Derwin schedules a 2-hour hands-on meeting in late spring with head cooks and staff to test potential farm-to-school recipes. During these meetings, Annette works with the head cook at the host school to make sure that all the necessary ingredients are stocked. Copies are made of each farm-to-school recipe being considered for the next school year, both a small-scale home version to be tested and a scaled-up school food service version for the staff to read. Stations are set up in the kitchen on meeting day. Each station includes a recipe and the ingredients and equipment needed to prepare the recipe. Staff members choose the station where they want to work. Staff members prepare the recipe at their station and set the results out for sampling. All staff members taste the results of each recipe and evaluate it for ease of preparation, tastiness, and so on.
With any new program, there tends to be a lot of uncertainties. To access a list of frequently asked questions, check out the Minnesota State Farm to School Primer. Topics in the area include: does buying local foods cost more? Does buying local foods take more time? Do kids like to eat these foods? Can we legally receive produce from a farmer's market or directly from a grower to serve students? Don't worry if your question is not on this list. We will provide you with resources and contacts to address any lingering questions or concerns. Don't forget, there are 4 more presentations in this series, so check those out as well.
Speaking of contacts, the great list of farm-to-school movers and shakers is available through the Minnesota Department of Health. Contacts are organized by group and region to help you receive the most relevant answers to your farm-to-school questions. Aside from the "This team is ready to help" list, you can also access the document called A Robust Tasting of Web Resources through the Department of Health website. This tasting provides an extensive collection of web resources.
Take it from Kathy Burrell, Chisago Lakes Food Service Director, when she says, "Farm to school is easier than you think. There's a wealth of resources at your fingertips to help you get started and be successful."
Throughout the presentation, we referenced many helpful websites. Here are the links for those resources. Don't worry if you don't have time to copy them. We also have developed a handout with all the references cited in this segment. Talk about easy. Happy farm to schooling!
These trainings were developed as a collaborative between the Minnesota Department of Health and the University of Minnesota Extension by University of Minnesota graduate students Stephanie Mottet and Megan Reeds, and with reviews by members of Minnesota Department of Education and the Minnesota School Nutrition Association.